गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुस्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. Okay, so ಇಲ್ಲಿ verbs we have in the 10th chapter we have studied the dhatus. Now we have to, I think ಅದು ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲವಲ್ಲ, ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಪೇಪರ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಫರ್ಗೆಟಿಂಗ್. ಪೇಪರ್ ತಂದರೆ ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗ್ತಿತ್ತು, ಪೇಪರ್ ತಂದಿಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇದು ನನ್ನಂಥ ಮೂರ್ಖ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಯಾರೂ ಇಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಲ್ಲಿ. ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರನ್ನು ನಂಬಿಕೊಳ್ಳುವುದು, ಅವರು ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ನನಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ ಎಂದು ಹೇಳುವುದು ಏಕೆ? ಅದು ನನ್ನ ಮೂರ್ಖತನ ಅಲ್ಲದಿದ್ದರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಯಾರೂ ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ, ನಾನೇ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡೆ. I have a habit of expecting others. I think that I should stop. I should expect people will be selfish. ಅವರ ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಅವ್ರು ತೊಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ, ನನಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ? ನಾನೇ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು. Okay, ಈಗ verbs we have seen. Now we have to see the certain nouns. Nouns-ನಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡು, ಅವರು ಹಿಂದೆ he has given in the previous chapters masculines separate and pullinga separate and napumsakalinga. He is here in this thing masculine and then pullinga, napumsakalinga, adjectives all mixed, isn't it? Pullinga, napumsaka and adjectives all are mixed. But put in an alphabetical order. But put in an alphabetical order. If one wants, you can separate those masculine, feminine separately. He has given the yam, where the yam is masculine, yan is neuter, then adj adjective. Okay, if you want to, we can separate it. Now let us take first adhyayanam is study. Adhyayanam is the noun which means study. Did I do it already? Probably I have done separately. Just a minute. Notes ನೋಡ್ತೀನಿ. 10th ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲವೇ. ಆತ್ಮನೇಪದಿ ಕುರಿತು ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬ ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ. ಆತ್ಮನೇಪದಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. I have already done ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಪುಲ್ಲಿಂಗ ಸಪ್ರೇಟ್, ನಪುಂಸಕ ಸಪ್ರೇಟ್. Abba, I have done already. So I think I don't have to do it again. It's good. So okay. Now first Adhyayanam. Adhyayanam is there in our Indian languages also. It becomes very easy. Adhyayanam means study. Study can mean simply reading. Simply reading. Pathanam can be simply reading. Adhyayanam also can be reading, and also reading with the help of understanding it, or with an intention to understanding it. Understanding its Adhyayanam of the Shastra. Shastra Adhyayanam, Veda Adhyayanam is only two ways. One is just learning the mantras. See, learning the mantras. Then second Adhyayanam is the understanding its meaning. We don't have this difference these days because it is like Vedadhyayanam is learning the book, the text. Nowadays we get the text in a printed book form. As we get the text, we think that we already have a text. We only have to learn the meaning alone. So learning the text we don't consider as a learning at all. Already book is there. We learn only its meaning. But in earlier days, learning the text as it is verbatim, then trying to understand its meaning, 2 levels of study. So that learning the text is Adhyayanam, that is also Adhyayanam. And then understanding its meaning is Arthadhyayanam, understanding its, both are Adhyayanam. But Pathanam is simply reading or Parayanam. Pathanam can be simple meaning, simple reading out, or doing Parayanam also can be called Pathanam. So Pathanam is different. Adhyayanam is learning the text or learning its meaning. Both the Adhyayanam we call it. Modern days, learning the text is not an Adhyayanam at all. So because only we go by the meaning, text is not a learning at all. This modern method, because we get the text as a printed text ready-made. That's a difference. So Adhyayanam is a study. Second is Archanam. Archanam, Archati Pada, verb has not come. We have not studied. So Archanam is worshipping. Earlier we got 2 verbs, Yajati, Pujayati. Yajati and Pujayati Dashamagana. That is verb. Here the noun is Archanam, is a worship. Next is Napunsakalinga. Then Asankheya. Second is Asankheya is adjective. Is the only one adjective it looks. Asankheya. See, Sankheya, Sankhya is a number. Sankheya, numberable, numerable, means what can be numbered, means this much you can say. You can number them, whose number can be ascertained. Asankheya, innumerable. ಅಸಂಖ್ಯೇಯ ಇನ್ಯೂಮರೇಬಲ್. ನೀವೇನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ? ಸೇಮ್ ಅಸಂಖ್ಯೇಯ. ತೆಲುಗಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಅಸಂಖ್ಯಾಕ. ಅಸಂಖ್ಯೇಯನು ಕೆಲವರು ಓನ್ಲಿ ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಸ್ಕಾಲರ್ಸ್ ಯೂಸ್, ಬಟ್ ಕಾಮನ್ಲಿ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಅಸಂಖ್ಯಾಕ ಜನ. ಅಸಂಖ್ಯಾಕ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಕೌಂಟ್ಲೆಸ್, ಬಿಯಾಂಡ್ ಕೌಂಟ್, ಸೋ ಮೆನಿ ಬಿಯಾಂಡ್ ಕೌಂಟ್. ಸೊ ಸಂಖ್ಯೇಯ ಕೌಂಟೆಬಲ್, ಅಸಂಖ್ಯೇಯ ಬಿಯಾಂಡ್ ಕೌಂಟ್. ಓಕೆ. You find warm and the mosquitoes are sitting on you. If you want a fan, you can switch off the fan as you like. ಅದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮೇಲೆ ನಿಧಾನವಾಗಿ ಆನ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಅದು ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ಲೈಟ್, ಅದು ಫ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಮೊದಲೇ ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನಂತರ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿಬಿಡ್ತದೆ. Okay. So Asankheya, it being an adjective, it forms, it makes the form in both Pullinga and Napunsakalinga. Asankheya, Akaranta, like Rama Shabda. Asankheyam, Napunsakalinga. Okay, next pada. Asatyam. Satyam is a truth. Asatyam, lie or falsehood. He has given two meanings. Asatyam, lie or falsehood. ನೀವು ಅಸತ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ what do you say in Kannada?
ಸುಳ್ಳು.
ಸುಳ್ಳು. Okay. Next. Next ಪದ ಅಸ್ತ್ರ.
ಅಸ್ತ್ರಂ. ಅಸ್ತ್ರಂ.
Astram. Astram is a miraculous weapon. Shastram has come.
Shastram. No.
Bantappa. They say Shastram has not come. I think Shastram has come also. ಶ ಎರಲವ ಶ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ. ಖಡ್ಗ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಬಂತು.
ಖಡ್ಗ.
ಅಸಿ ಬಂತು.
ಅಸಿ.
ಶಸ್ತ್ರಂ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಕಮ್. I think I thought Shastram has come. Shastram has come.
Shastram has come.
Shastram has not come. See, Astram, Shastram, there is a difference. Shastram is a weapon. Astram means what can be thrown from a distance. Shastra can't be thrown. You have to directly, like a bana.
Okay.
Like a, what you say, arrow. Arrow can be discharged from a distance and hit a target. But khadga, you can't throw from distance. So go and near and hold it in your hand and hit a person. Means a weapon which has to be held in your hand and use it. But another weapon which can be discharged from a distance, like we say the bomb and certain other things. Like you throw from a distance, that is called astra. Why? How do you get that meaning? Asyati, to throw.
Okay.
In that word itself, that as is there. Asyati, to throw, means what is thrown from a distance is called astram. This is one meaning. Another meaning is khadga, gada are shastras. Khadga and gada are shastras. Because you have to hold and use them. You have to hold it, wield and use them. Dhanus, you can discharge it from a distance. One more meaning he calls miraculous. Why miraculous? Because you have to use some mantra with it. In Shastra there is no mantra. Modern all the weapons, modern weapons have no mantras. In those days they were using mantras. You have to receive a mantra from a person who himself has a siddhi of the mantra. That mantra has got a presiding devata. So that devata anugraha you must get it. A person who already has the mantra siddhi means that devata shakti. He gives you diksha. He opens the channel in you. Once he opens, he initiates. Then you have to practice and get the siddhi. In these things, first diksha. Second, you have to practice. Third is that energy, that devata shakti, you should be able to withhold in you. Otherwise, you won't be able to stand that power. So, to be able to hold the power, you need certain discipline. Certain discipline, certain puja, devata archana, yeah, you have to do that. Otherwise, that devata power will become weakened after some time. You have to, once in a while or once in a, they give you something. You have to do that mantras and retain that power. Otherwise, devatas, the connection with you, devata, will become weakened after some time, the mantra will go away. And then your personal life also, certain sadhana, certain upasana, concentration of the mind, certain discipline and values you have to retain. If you lose them, the mind's power will go away. And in those days, people were living. Now, people ask why people were living so much of discipline. In those days, you see, to go to school, they require to wake up early in the morning, daily do Sandhya Vandana, and then do all those things. Do we need so much? Nowadays, we just don't do it all. See, simply, In those days, for doing Shastra Adhyayana, they would do some brahmacharya also, they would follow and do Shastra Adhyayana. Nowadays, they think that is all some kind of a fancy or some such thing, they say. Anybody can study. Anybody can study, you will get only a concept. But in those days, they would do it as a tapas. Tapas gives you some kind of a mental power, indriya power, control in your sense organs, control in your, on your mind. So then, therefore, the upasana, karmas, astras, even aushadhi, all of them have. Nowadays, we take aushadhi means purely chemical. But in Ayurveda, every aushadhi, along with chemical, a small degree of what you call mantra shakti, some devata shakti also they would include, a small degree. In some aushadhi, a greater part of, larger part of mantra shakti, devata shakti, small part of aushadha shakti. But in some, aushadha shakti is more, I mean a chemical is more and a mantra shakti is little. But some degree of mantra is always possible. But there are few mantras, there are few vertical methods of treating. They are purely devata shakti, no aushadha shakti, chemical at all. Without any chemical, kevala, purely with that power alone they can heal. See, in some aushadhis, a part of devata shakti is included and a little bit of chemical shakti. But in some of them, purely devata shakti, mantra shakti, no aushadha at all. Just by orally they will do it. Orally they will heal. And then some chemical is more, but there is always a little bit. Now in Ayurveda, not only the chemical power, but also the mental power. That means the mantra shakti, that also they were using it. Now the modern is too materialistic. Modern science is based upon materialistic. As we are studying in our Ramaswarup's book, the religion, the faith, they have totally removed, set aside. Only purely materialistic logic. Purely materialistic logic means they are only going by Nastika like. Just matter. Matter has certain power, that's all. So the other aspect they are totally ignoring it. Another extreme they have got. Earlier people went to faith too much by ignoring logic. Once this European Renaissance came, then they emphasized so much logic that they totally set aside the faith. A combination of healthy combination of both, it was never found, and even now I think it's not there. Only in Indian culture alone we found the combination of both. So people, even for food becomes a mantric power when you eat it with some devata shakti. The same food you may eat little, that will give you a lot of power. Therefore, they would have lot of indriya shakti and manas shakti. You invoke the devata shakti and establish in you. Therefore, they had some power in the body, power in the sense organs, power in the mind. That devata shakti they would invoke. And for that sake, the lot of karma, rituals, purity, upasanas, they would do lot. Nowadays they say, for everything they ask a physical reason, scientific reason, tell scientific reason. We don't want this faithful reason of a faith, everything scientific. Scientific means what? Only matter. Physical matter has some power, that's all. Whatever the chemical has, nothing more. So modern. So it is becoming too, science has become too materialistic. Indian science like Ayurveda and then our Astras, they were combination of physical as well as Devata Shakti, Adi Daivika. Devata Shakti as well as Daivi Shakti as well as physical power, both. In fact, the physical power itself is a part of Devata Shakti. All the nature's powers, are part of Devata Shakti, that's what we believe. Therefore, when we invoke, we retain this portion. See, when we talk of Devata Shakti, in particularly like Christianity and other, they say God has created nature, but at the same time they say God is outside nature, outside world. God comes and interferes and tries to save a man, a jiva, who lives in this world. Jiva means for them, jiva and man are not too different. For us, jiva and man is different. Why?
Jiva is the Atma.
That's true, yet different. Jiva exists not only in human beings but in animals and plants also. That's why Jiva is a larger meaning. Jiva lives in plants, animals, human beings, rishis and devatas. For them, angels, human beings. And animals and plants have no soul. Animals and plants have no soul. At one time they thought woman also did not have Atma. That's why they ill-treat animals, kill them, torture them, because they have no soul. Two things are there. They have no soul, one thing. Even if they don't have a soul, but they have a pain. But why do you torture? They say, ethics, law means whatever your God has ordered. Or God has ordered means, one is God has ordered to do certain thing. If he has ordered to do, that becomes a law, ethics. If he has asked you not to do, or if he asked you to do, not to do, that you need not do. That's one thing, Vidhi Nisheda. Second point, if God says you are my people, if God has adopted certain people, they become God's people. If harming them will be hurting God. Helping them, serving them is serving God. Their ethics is only centered on God. See, their ethics is centered on God. God says these are my people, then you can't hurt them. And kafirs are people, those who do not belong to my religion. I am not on their side. Their side means I have not made an agreement with them. The believers, God says, believers form one ummah or church. We have discussed that. So that means God makes an agreement with them. That means I am on your side. You are my people, I am your God. So there is an agreement. If somebody hurts you, you are hurting me, and you will incur papa. So that papa punya is pleasing, displeasing God. For us, pleasing, displeasing God we don't say. It is violating the dharma, the cosmic law of being good and bad. That is it. For us, it's a cosmic law, is a dharma. So pleasing, displeasing God is a different thing. You may say, but that's not the main thing. For them, pleasing, displeasing. Then what pleases God, what displeases God, how do you know? Through the revelation, through the book alone. Therefore, common sense law doesn't work. For them, common sense law, human mind cannot decide what is ethics. Human mind, however good and sincere and saintly, you cannot decide. For us, human mind itself also partly can decide dharma. See, by hurting others, you are hurting your mind also. You know that hurting others, you are hurting it. Your mind tells you. So that becomes a law. So if for ethics, your common sense ethics, your heart, your conscience also partly decides ethics. For them there is no conscience, only God's words through prophet or through a person, through book. If it says animals can be tortured because there is no soul in the animals, not only that, God is not on their side. God has not made an agreement with them. So God has, even among the human beings, two people are there, believers and non-believers. God is not on the side of non-believers. God belongs to believers. Therefore, if you hurt another believer, God will be displeased. Then you will minus point, a papa comes. There is no word for papa, I think sin something. So if you ill-treat non-believers, no papa. Ill-treat them, exploit them, murder them, rape them, torture them, doesn't matter. No papa. Because God is not on their side. God will not be displeased. It is ultimately God who adds a minus point to him. God doesn't add. God already told, I am not on their side. They are Satan worshippers. They are false God worshippers. False God is Satan. They are Satan worshippers. How can I be? In fact, Satan worshipper, if you torture them, Satan will be displeased. That's what you can do. In fact, you will get punyam. You get a good thing. That's why they torture us, they exploit us, they ill-treat us, inhumanly, cruelly they treat us. No conscience at all. They don't feel anything worried. Ruthlessly they murder and rape you. And they feel that our Allah, when Allah is pleased, our God is pleased, we are very happy, they feel. Why? This is their concept of ethics. In animals there is no God, therefore you can torture them. That means your sadism is legitimized religiously by God. You can be sadist to your non-believers. You can be sadist to plants and animals. Cut them. Cut the animal. They torture, you can see them when the cow is cut.
Mm-hmm.
The skin is peeled by living cow. First they made to fast for one day, then they torture, then they peel it. It says, ba, ba, ba. You cannot see them. What a torture. They say, there is no soul. Let it torture. God is not there on their side. God is on our side. Torture. Even human beings, non-Muslims you can torture them, non-Christians or anybody. If you are non-believer, that means a person who doesn't belong to your religion, you can torture. Because there is no God on their side, no sin, no papa. So this concept, what does it mean? Your very basis of ethics is limited.
True.
Another basis of ethics is a blind belief. It doesn't include the human feelings, human conscience, common sense. It excludes common sense, conscience, human heart. It excludes it. It only tells you, the book says, you just follow. You become a robot. You understand? You can see them. They treat you, they are robots. They have no heart. You can't talk to them logically. Because can you appeal to their conscience? Why can't you appeal? Because there is no conscience.
True.
Once you join those two Abraham religions, conscience is killed. You are just a robot. The book says you just follow. You are molded, you are shaped according to the robot, according to that idea. That's all you follow. You have no conscience. Now, we people, Hindus, do fail to understand it. That's why, though it is a Sanskrit Patha, it is not a Vedantic Patha. But you see, all these things are one, we have to discuss, there is no way. Now, we have to appeal to their conscience. How? But their conscience is molded, controlled by that revelation. Revelation says, just you accept it. Now, you don't keep your individual conscience. Because what the revelation doesn't teach, what revelation doesn't touch, are against the revelation. It says you can ill-treat animals, you ill-treat them. Isn't it? Now for us, they say there is a jiva. A jiva means, jiva includes plants, animals, even insects also. Plants, insects, animals, three we have to say. Plants, insects, animals, human beings and devatas. For them, angels are separate. Jiva means only human beings. Men means human beings. Why men? Even women also were excluded for some time, and later the people sat together and voted for it. Yes, women have souls. Hereafter they will have souls. Parliament decides whether woman has Atma or not. This is called religion. So animals and plants do not have. Now Jiva means for us, what is Jiva? This many bodies he exists. Jiva exists in plants, insects, animals, human beings, devatas. Devatas and rishis. For them, only men, human beings are not. Angels are excluded. Angels don't, in fact, angels are not talked about at all. And there is nothing much about angels. They only say believe in angels, but that's all. And then nothing much in angels. And then angels come and help you because they are obedient to God, and that's all they say. Among the angels, one angel became disobedient. It didn't listen to God's word. It rebelled. He is called Satan. He became Satan. Therefore, Satan means rebelling against God. But how do you know? Now, if you were in heaven, probably the rebellion could be directly understood. In Bhuloka, how do you know the rebellion? God's revelation comes through a prophet or a only son. And that book, if you rebel against the book, you are rebelling against God. That means you are a Satan. It is rebelling against the book, about religion, about our church. Rebelling against our prophet, our book and our church. Church means that the clergy, the important people. The important people like Pope and Bishop and those people who are given authoritative people on that clergy. So if you rebel against them, that means you rebel against God. That means you have become Satan. Now your quality, whether obedient or disobedient, whether you are a bhakta or abhakta, asura, whether you are a bhakta, whether asura, it doesn't depend upon your quality of your mind. It depends upon how much you are loyal to the book, you accept the book or don't accept the book, that's all. It is a more an external and social, like a political joining a party. It is an external and social. It is nothing to do with your inner quality of your heart. For us, Sattvika is the inner quality of your heart. Rajasa is the inner quality. Tamasa is an inner quality. It is the quality of your heart that decides whether you are Asura or a Devata or Asura or a saintly person. But for them, it is an external. Everything is decided by external law. You are obedient, then you are a devotee, you are a believer. Therefore, if you don't accept the book, then you are a Satan in you. But you may say sincere man, good person, doesn't matter, you are still Satan. That means that you are a Satan follower or God believer is decided from the external things, not based upon your sincerity of your heart, your quality of your mind. Mind and qualities just they ignore. They do more from the external side alone. This is the difference. That's why, so Jiva and man is different. Okay, so Devata Shakti is there in everywhere, in everything. Then food. So if you do Upasana and Devata Shakti, discipline, have a self-control, two things. Control of the sense organs and mind, and your mind will be connected to Devata Shakti. And you invoke the Devata Shakti and it flows into you. And that Devata Shakti pertains to each object, every object. Then that object gets reinforced with that some, what you call super physical, super normal. More than the physical, it comes to have little extra power also. Therefore, earlier life was karmamaya upasanavaya. Manusmriti, Puranas, they talk of lot of karmas, rituals, disciplines. They do follow a lot of things. These people say, why do we need so much? If you don't do all those things, your that supernormal power will be very limited, very less. That's why these people, you don't have at all those disciplines. You live very normal people. They have got very limited power. So, you may have certain purity of mind. You may learn Vedanta, but this Devata Shakti is becoming too limited. That is the difference between previous Yuga and modern Yuga. They say all these things, rituals, this discipline, this purity, impurity. What is all this nonsense? Unnecessary, they say. That means that Adi Devata, Devata Shakti is coming down. That's why in Aushadhi there would be Devata Shakti. In food there is a Devata Shakti. In those days, people would go without food for months together, just by drinking water. Because in water there is a Devata Shakti. They would drink and live there. We don't have that. No, we have to live the food. Without food you can't eat. You can't live. Because in Kali Yuga, the Devata Shakti is coming down. So we are more and we ignore. That's a modern culture of ignoring, because more of materialistic outlook. Okay, Bidu. So Astra is, when you use, you have to invoke the Devata Shakti. The Devata Siddhi you have to get it. Then once in a while the Devata may go away, once in a while you have to reinforce, keep maintaining it. Then when you use that thing, you invoke the Devata and use that Astra, along with Devata Shakti, it goes and hits the person. So that is it. Even Aushadhi also, food also. Along with that physical, chemical, you add the little Devata Shakti also. Nowadays, that upper layer is totally lost. Only everything material. This is all like a Western science. Indian science was not like this. Devata Shakti and this we both included it. That's a supernormal power, occult power, whatever they call. That is totally lost. Even Vedantins don't believe these days. All that is a blind belief, they say. Only physical and Atma Jnana, that's all. This Adi Devika, people are ignoring it. Some people follow, some people ignore it. So Astra means where you throw it from a distance is one. One is throw it from a distance. Second is Mantra Shakti. Devata Shakti also is included in it. And the Shastra is like a Khadga. There is no Mantra Shakti, directly you use it. It has got all physical power of that. That it is a good steel or some kind of a, I don't know, whatever. What Kanchu you call it? No, Allah. Ittali. That Ittali, no, I don't know. No, not Ittali. In iron alone, some kind of a alloy they were using it so that it remains sharp. You sharpen it and use it. It will remain sharp for a long time. Even after cutting people, it remains sharp. That's it. Okay. Astra. Then coming to the next word. Adhyatmika. So Atma is Atma, we know it. Adhyatma, Adhi means depending upon. Adhi depending upon Adhyatma. Adhyatmika, what ante? Something depending upon or pertaining to. Pertaining to Atma. Adhyatmika becomes adjective. Pertaining to Atma means spiritual. He is calling spiritual. I don't know whether they call spiritual, but pertaining to Atma. In contrast with physical body. Okay. Next, Udgama. Udgama means what you call it? Udgama means coming out. Coming out, birth. He says coming into birth. Udgama means Nadi Udgama ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಉತ್ಪತ್ತಿ. ಉದ್ಗಮ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಉತ್ಪತ್ತಿ. ನದಿ ಉದ್ಗಮ ಅಥವಾ ಹಣ್ಣು ಬಿಡುವುದು ಅದಂటే ಗ್ರೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಆನ್ ಎ ಟ್ರೀ. ಫಲಾನಾಂ ಉದ್ಗಮ. ಕಾಯಿ ಬೆಳೆಯುತ್ತದೆ, ಇನ್ನು ಬಿಡುತ್ತದೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಬಿಡುತ್ತದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಬಿಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಎ ಕರ್ಮ, ಕ್ರಿಯಾ ಆನ್ ದ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಟ್ರೀ. ಹಣ್ಣು ಬಿಡುತ್ತದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು? ಎ ಟ್ರೀ ಹಣ್ಣು ಬಿಡುತ್ತದೆ. ಟ್ರೀ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸಸ್ ಎ ಫ್ರೂಟ್. ಬಟ್ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಬಾರ್ನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಆ ಪದ ನೀವು ಬಳಸೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ. ವೆನ್ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಬಾರ್ನ್, ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಟ್ರೀ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸಸ್. ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಬಾರ್ನ್. ದಟ್ ಎ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಬಾರ್ನ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಎ ಟ್ರೀ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಉದ್ಗಮ. From this side, from the side of the fruit you are talking, it is udgama. Udgama means it rises. It takes birth. Coming to birth or takes birth is better. Taking birth, appearing. A fruit appears on a tree. Allave. A fruit appears on it. Appears means it comes into being, comes into production, comes into birth. Then if you talk from the side of the tree produces. From the side of the fruit, it comes out. It comes into existence. It comes into birth. Like that. So, Udgama means birth, coming into birth or appearance. Otherwise, how do you understand this coming into birth and appearance? Very difficult. Okay. Udyama. Then ನೀವೇನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ? ಹಣ್ಣು ಬಿಡುತ್ತದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಮರ ಹಣ್ಣು ಬಿಡುತ್ತದೆ.
ಇಲ್ಲ, ಹಣ್ಣು ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತನೂ.
ಆಗಿದೆಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಆಗುವಿಕೆ. ಉದ್ಗಮ ಅಂದರೆ ದಟ್ ಆಗುವಿಕೆ, ಹಣ್ಣಾಗುವಿಕೆ. ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್, ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಅಪಿಯರೆನ್ಸ್. ನದಿ ಉದ್ಗಮ, ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ನದಿ, ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಫೌಂಟೇನ್, ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಅರ್ತ್ ನದಿ ರೈಸಸ್, ವಾಟರ್ ಓಸಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಇಟ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ನದಿ ಉದ್ಗಮ. ಉದ್ಗಮ ಸ್ಥಾನ ಈ ಸೆಲ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್. ಓಕೆ. ದೆನ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಟ. Udyama. Udgama is masculine. Udyama is Punlinga. All these are Punlingas, isn't it? First few were, I think, Astra, up to Astra Napusaka. Oh, there is one Asankheya is there. Adhyatmika is also adjective. From Udgama onwards, up to Durachara is masculine. Then Dhyana is one, but remaining are masculine. Like this is mixing up. Anyway. So you have to remember that whether it is masculine or neuter. Udyama. Udyama means an exertion or an industry. Udyama. You call it Udyama. Udyama is an industry or exertion. Then kata. Kata is a mat. Kataha. Kataha, that on which you are sitting. Kataha is a mat. Okay. Kleshaha. Klesha is pain and distress. Or even to Dukkham. Dukkham is more of a Manasikam. Dukkham is misery, he called. Dukkham is misery. Kleshaha is a more physical. Sometimes Klesha mind also we use. So these words are not fixed. In India, we use the same word for another meaning, that meaning and this meaning. The words have got very fluctuating meanings. It's not a fixed meaning, just a fluctuating meanings. It can be used in this sense and slightly in this sense, according to the context. So, kleshaha is mainly physical, but sometimes in marks. Dukkha is mainly physical, mainly psychological, but sometimes can be used as physical. But mainly manasika. Dukkham is manasika. Klesha is physical. Something like stress and strain we call them. Strain is physical, stress is psychological. Stress is psychological, strain is physical, like that. So it is a kleshaha is a pain or a distress. Dandaha. Dandaha is punishment. Verb we have learnt dandayati,
ದಂಡಯತಿ.
punishes. Okay, next. Then duracharaha. Earlier we learnt one achara. What is that? Acharaha.
ಆಚಾರ
Acharaha we learnt.
Conduct.
Now it is a conduct. Acharaha we learnt. Now we learnt duracharaha. Acharaha, 2 words we learnt. Acharaha charitam. Charitam is manner of living. Acharaha conduct. This is a duracharaha, bad conduct. Then for good conduct, sadachara. Duracharaha. If you break that upasarga, dur plus acharaha, durachara. Then sat plus acharaha, ta becomes da, sadachara. Soft consonant changes to sadachara. Okay. Now durachara, bad conduct. Then dhyanam. Dhyanam is napusaka. Dhyanam, dhyane, dhyanani. Okay, then narayana, name of a person. Nashaha. Nashyati, we have learnt the verb. Now it is a noun, nashaha. Nashyati is a verb, nashaha is a noun. Nashaha is a ruin or loss. Nasha means total destruction. Nasha means losing something, becoming poor. You lost money, that's one thing. Another is totally dying also. Total nasha, he died totally. That's why ruin he called. Total ruin or little becoming less of money. Earlier you had more money, you become less. That is also loss. Or loss means totally ruining. Totally losing all money without anything. So 2 levels we talk of. Total nasha or partial nasha. Okay. Then nyayaha.
Total sarvanasha.
Sarvanasha, like that. So nyayaha is school of philosophy. We have got many schools, philosophies. So nyaya is one of this. Paritoshik, here neuter again. Paritoshikam. Toshayati, tushyati is to be happy. Toshayati. If tushyati, you make it into your 10th conjugation, pleasing others. Tushyati, santosha padu. Toshayati, santosha ಪಡಿಸು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರನ್ನು. ಸಂತೋಷ ಪಡಿಸು. ಪಾರಿತೋಷಿಕಂ, ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರನ್ನು ಸಂತೋಷ ಪಡಿಸುವಂಥದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಗಿಫ್ಟು, ಒಂದು ಅವಾರ್ಡು. ರಿವಾರ್ಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಪಾರಿತೋಷಿಕ. ಅವಾರ್ಡ್ ಆರ್ ರಿವಾರ್ಡ್. ಪಾರಿತೋಷಿಕಂ. ಪ್ರಬಲ ಇಸ್ ಎ ವಿಶೇಷಣ. ಪ್ರಬಲ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್. ಪ್ರಬಲಃ ಪ್ರಬಲಂ ಬೋತ್. ದೆನ್ ಪ್ರಾಯಃ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಅವ್ಯಯ. Sakara becomes prayas, becomes visarga. Prayaha means generally, mostly. Generally this is what happens. Hindi people use it. Prayaha ऐसे ही होता है, they say. Prayaha means in generally. Okay. Then bimbam. Chandra bimbam. Bimbam means the disc. ನೀವೇನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ? ಡಿಸ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರ. ಸಾಬೂನ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ? ಟಿಕಿಯಾ ಇನ್ನು ಹಿಂದಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೋಪ್ಸ್ ಅದು ಏನು ಅಂತಾರೆ? ಸಾಬೂನು ಅಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ. ಸೋಪ್ದ ಪೀಸ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ? ಅದು ಟ್ಯಾಬ್ಲೆಟ್. ಆ ಟ್ಯಾಬ್ಲೆಟ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ? ಮಾತ್ರೆ. ಟ್ಯಾಬ್ಲೆಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಮೆಡಿಸನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ. ಸಾಬೂನ್ ಟ್ಯಾಬ್ಲೆಟ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಸಾಬೂನು ಈ ಶೇಪ್ ಇರುತ್ತದೆ, ಪೌಡರ್ ಇರುತ್ತದೆ. ಅದು ಪೌಡರ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಇದಕ್ಕೇನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ? ಸಾಬೂನು ಈ ಪೀಸ್ಗೆ, ಈ ಸೈಜ್ಗೆ. ನಾವು ಬಿಳ್ಳ ಎಂದು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಬಿಳ್ಳ ಗಟ್ಟಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಓಹೋ, ಗಟ್ಟಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಹಾಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಾ? ಗಟ್ಟಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತದೆ ಅದು. ಓಹೋ, ಪೀಸ್ಕು ಗಟ್ಟಿ. ಸಾಬೂನ್ ಗಟ್ಟಿ. ದಟ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಆಸ್ಕಿಂಗ್. ಟ್ಯಾಬ್ಲೆಟ್, ಸೋಪ್ ಟ್ಯಾಬ್ಲೆಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸೋಪ್ ಪೌಡರ್, ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಟ್ಯಾಬ್ಲೆಟ್. ಟ್ಯಾಬ್ಲೆಟ್ ವಿತ್ ಮೆಡಿಸನ್ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ. అంటే hard a piece of certain shape. Hard piece of certain shape is called a tablet. Okay. The soap tablet. That's what I call it. So here bimbam means the tablet in a round shape is called a disc. A disc. That is a bimbam. Chandra bimbam. Chandra is like a tablet, like in a disc. Okay. Disc ಗೆ ನೀವೇನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ? ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ? ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ನೋ ಕನ್ನಡ. ಡಿಸ್ಕ್. ಓಕೆ, ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್. ಬಿಂಬಂ. ತೆಲುಗಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು? ಬಿಂಬಂಕು ಬಿಂಬಂ ಓನ್ಲಿ. ಏನೋ ಇದಪ್ಪ, ಡಿಸ್ಕ್. ಓಕೆ, ಬಂದಾಗ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. Then Bhaktaha is a devotee, is known as masculine. Bhayam is Napumsaka. Bhayam bhaye bhayani. Manikaraha. Manayaha we learnt. Ratnani we learnt. Now he is called Manikaraha. The Kara means the jeweler who makes the jewels and sells them. Is called Manikaraha, jeweler. ನೀವೇನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ? ಮಣಿಕಾರಹ. ರತ್ನಾಲ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರಿ, ನಗಲ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರಿ ತೆಲುಗಿನಲ್ಲಿ.
ಚಿನ್ನ ಬೆಳ್ಳಿ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರಿ. ಚಿನ್ನ ಬೆಳ್ಳಿ.
ಓಹೋ, ಚಿನ್ನ ಬೆಳ್ಳಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರ. ಚಿನ್ನ ಬೆಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಬಂಗಾರಂ ವೆಂಡಿ. ಬಂಗಾರಂ ವೆಂಡಿ.
What usually we use is ಆಚಾರಿ. ಚಿನ್ನ ಬೆಳ್ಳಿ ಆಚಾರಿ. ಆಚಾರಿ.
ಆಚಾರಿ is a particular caste.
ಅದೇನೇ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಚಿನ್ನ ಬೆಳ್ಳಿ ಆಚಾರಿ.
ಆಚಾರಿ. ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ. This I didn't know.
For a carpenter, ಮರದ ಆಚಾರಿ.
ಓಹೋ, ಮರದ ಆಚಾರಿ. ಬಡಗಿ ಹೇಳಲ್ಲ.
ಯೂಶುವಲ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಮರದ ಆಚಾರಿ.
ಸೊ ಬಡಗಿ ಹೇಳಲ್ಲ,
ಅದು ಕಮ್ಮಿ.
ಅಯ್ಯೋ, ನನಗೆ ಯಾರೂ ಹೇಳಲಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾನು ಅದೇ ಹೇಳಿ, ಕಾರ್ಪೆಂಟರ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಬಡಗೆ ಹೇಳಿಬಿಟ್ಟರು ನನಗೆ. ನಾನು ಆಲ್ ಪ್ರವಚನದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಡಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ನಾನು ನೆವರ್ ನ್ಯೂ. See, this is the thing. I think Kannadigas themselves mislead me by giving wrong words. And they say your Kannada looks very artificial, and then you taught me this wrong word, wrong Kannada. What am I to do?
ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಯೂಸೇಜ್.
See, the usage ನಲ್ಲಿರುವಂಥ ಪದಗಳು ನನಗೆ ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ. When I ask them, they give me this thing. I ask carpenter, what do you call? They give me ಬಡಗಿ and that. Then I speak, they listen. ಅರ್ಥವಾಯಿತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಬಡಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಾ? ಬಡಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಮುಖ ಸೀರಿಯಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. I ask him, do you call ಬಡಗಿ? ಅರ್ಥವಾಯಿತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅರ್ಥವಾಯಿತು ಅಂದರೆ ಅರ್ಥವೇನು? ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ. They never say there is another word which is more popular. They never say. That's why my Kannada has become artificial. That is because of this alone. They never help me. I don't understand. Why do they resist, or why do they, or they intentionally want to mislead me and want to see that I speak artificial Kannada? Probably they enjoy that I should speak only artificial Kannada, not sincere, good, easily understandable Kannada. Oh, these things nobody told me. That is a ಬೆಳ್ಳಿ ಆಚಾರಿ ಕನ್ನಡ. ವಾಟ್ ಆಚಾರಿ?
ಚಿನ್ನ ಬೆಳ್ಳಿ ಆಚಾರಿ.
ಚಿನ್ನ ಬೆಳ್ಳಿ ಆಚಾರಿ. This is
ಮರದ ಆಚಾರಿ.
ಮರದ ಆಚಾರಿ. ಓಕೆ.
And for blacks ಅಂದರೆ ಚಪ್ಪಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೊಡಿತಾರಲ್ಲ, for him ಚಪ್ಪಲಿ ಆಚಾರಿ.
ಚಪ್ಪಲಿ means that is a
food. The one who stitches.
Yeah, but he is not ಆಚಾರಿ.
ಅದೇ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಕ್ಯಾಸ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು we use the same.
He is not a caste. He doesn't belong to this caste. Vishwa karma caste, he doesn't belong. The chappal making is a cobbler. Cobbler is a Harijan caste. Cobbler is a Harijan caste. Blacksmith irutta. Blacksmith, goldsmith, and then what you call badagi. Badagi means carpenter. These three are Vishwakarma. They have got Upanayana. You know that?
Oh.
They have got Upanayana. They wear Yagnopavita. Means a partial Vedadikara. Because they make certain material which are useful in yajna. They alone can make it. Everybody can't make it. If they make it, that is pavitra and can be used for yajna. Because in yajna, certain lot of material you have to use it. That carpenter ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ವರ್ಧಕಿ, that alone is, if anybody makes it, it won't be useful. Because adhikari is required, a particular adhikari. Anybody can't use it. So these three castes, blacksmith, goldsmith, and then carpenter, these three castes are called what you call this badagi Vishwakarma. So blacksmith can ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ.
ಜಿ ಕಬ್ಬಣ
ಕಮ್ಮಾರ. ಓಕೆ ಕಮ್ಮಾರ ವಿಲ್ಸದ. ಓಕೆ, ಅದ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ. ದಿಸ್ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಏನಿವರ್ ನೀವು ದಾರು ನೋ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಏನು ಆಚಾರ್ಯಪ್ಪ?
ಚಿನ್ನ ಬೆಳ್ಳಿ
ಅಂದರೆ ವುಡನ್ ಮರ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ.
ಟ್ರೀ.
ಓಕೆ. ನಾನು ದಾರು ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಮರದ ಆಚಾರಿ, ಇವರು ಚಿನ್ನ ಬೆಳ್ಳಿ ಆಚಾರಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಹಿಯರ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಐ ಸೇ. These people never tell me. They tell me, they give me all unnecessary artificial word which probably only dictionary you find, only such words they give me. I don't know why do they want to give me. I don't understand. They always give me such words. Your Honor, this is the problem. Anyway, bhayam, manikara. Then masaha is month. Then labaha is acquiring it, gain, obtaining, or acquisition. That acquisition is in old English, isn't it? Acquisition we don't find these days. Okay. Vataha is wind. Vataha is gali, wind. Then Vishwamitraha is a person. Shasanam is an order.
Hmm.
Shasanam is an order. Shukla Pakshaha.
Shukla.
That you know it is a Pullinga. Shukla Pakshaha, Krishna Pakshaha, Masaha. Both are, all the three are Pullinga. Shukla Pakshaha, Masaha, Pullinga. Then Sadachara has come now. See, Durachara before, Sadachara now has come. Achara we already studied. Sneha. Sneha is affection or friendship. Sneha can mean affection and friendship. Then Swasthyam. Swasthyam means, what he says? Tranquility and peace. He is talking of more of a mental Swasthyam. Swasthyam word is used in Hindi as a physical health. आपका स्वास्थ्य कैसा है? उनका स्वास्थ्य ठीक नहीं है. स्वास्थ्य means they talk of the physical स्वास्थ्य. Swa in the one sense. Stha andre iddane. Swastha. Swa andre tanu. Swastha andre tanu tanagiddane swastha. Swastasya bhavaha swasthyam. ಸ್ವಸ್ಥನಾಗಿರುವ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಯನ್ನು ಸ್ವಾಸ್ಥ್ಯಂ ಎಂದು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಸ್ವಸ್ಥಃ ಸ್ವಾಸ್ಥ್ಯಂ. ಓಕೆ, ಸ್ವಾಸ್ಥ್ಯ. ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ vocabulary is over. Time is up.
So, 7:55.
I think we can stop. Enough. So, vocabulary we have taken unnecessarily long time. Certain we discussed certain unnecessary thing. Now you can go for this thing word. Devam, one or two words let us see. Devam Vande.
Devam Vande.
Vande is one the verb. Devam Ditiya Vibhakti.
I salute God.
I salute God. Bhayam Shankase.
Bhayam Shankase.
Shankase ಅಲ್ಲ, ಖಾಯಿದೆಯಾ?
ಇಲ್ಲ.
మరి ಖಸೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಹೇಳು?
ಭಯಂ ಶಂಕಸೆ.
ಭಯಂ ಶಂಕಸೆ.
I suspect fear.
ಸೇ ಶಂಕ ಆತ್ಮನೇಪದಿ ಸೇ ಅಯ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಅಯ್ಯಲ್ಲಿದೆ.
You suspect fear.
Suspecting fear means here fear means something to be feared. Fear means something to be feared. Therefore some danger. You suspect some danger. Athava you fear something harmful. You fear some evil. That means you suspect some evil. Some danger, some evil. So bhayam, suspecting fear, in English we don't have such an expression. You suspect something to be feared. ಏನೋ ಆಯ್ತೆಂದು ಭಯಗೊಳ್ಳುವಂತ, ಭಯ ಉಂಟು ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು ಏನೋ ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು ಎಂದು ಯು ಆರ್ ಸಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಭಯ ಅಂದರೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಫಿಯರ್ಡ್. That is to be feared is some kind of a frightening thing. And there is some kind of a danger, some kind of a harm, evil, danger. ಅಲ್ಲ, you suspect some harm, some evil, some danger. You suspect some danger or evil. I think that's enough. Okay, like bhayad dvepate hridayam. Sandhi vichcheda madu. Bhayad
dvepate
hridayam. Hridayam. The heart trembles
when you say bhaya due to fear.
Correct. Due to fear, out of fear. So bhaya, when bhayat, when we say panchami vibhakti, dasayinda, due to, on account of, panchami that, due to, on account of your heart trembles. Trembling due to fear. So that's expression is given. Okay, like that you can do other things. Okay, shall we close it? If only singular C is giving, in the next chapter, ಈಗ ನಾವು ಡ್ಯುಯಲ್ ಪ್ಲೂರಲ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್ in one chapter. Because now earlier we have learnt, now we don't need to separate them. Bahuvachana separate, Dvivachana separate, two together. Though in the next chapter, vocabulary is little alone. So in probably tomorrow or when, if we can finish, if we have time, we can finish the vocabulary. And then you do it, that's all. In 2 chapters, this will be over. Atmanepada will be over. We can go to the passive voice. Passive voice I have to explain a little bit. Passive is a little complicated. I have to explain a lot. I think it will take 1 chapter, 1 hour, or maybe a little more than 1 hour. I have to give a lot of information. Because the passive is a lot of explanation requires.
Okay.
I made some notes. Then we'll give. Okay. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Namaha. Hari Om Tat Sat.